Hello everyone. So good to see you guys today. Today we're talking about top 5 mistakes that we make on resumes and on job applications. The reason why I'm talking about this is that recently Remote Rockstars went through a hiring round and we added another amazing team member, and I'm just so pumped and thrilled to have her on our team. And we're actually continuing to review a few more applications to see if we can find another amazing rock star who can join our team. A few of our candidates are going through the assessment test, and this is part of our application process. But what I wanted to tell you is that sometimes when we are invited to job interviews, that confidence, maybe lack of confidence, a little bit kicks in that moment where we're not certain and we're not confident enough that we're quite qualified for the job. And to be completely honest, if an interviewer or a recruiter invited you to the job interview, it means that they saw something in you. It means that there was something on the resume that stood out to them, maybe in your cover letter, the way how you presented your personal and professional story. Maybe there is something in your experience that really caught their eye and they wanted to learn more. So grab onto that opportunity, right? And go 100% in by then showing off the best, the most favorable side, professional side of you during the job interview, and just really dive in, go in, and listen to your gut as far as how you approach some of the answers to the questions, and actually, study up and do some research as far as the actual position and the company that you're interviewing for. And here's where I wanted to actually go into the second point here. One of the other mistakes that we noticed on the interview, during the interview, is that you were maybe memorized some of the answers that you prepared before at home, and they just don't quite sound authentic. And it always shows up. And these days, it's not just a phone interview that you also go through, but most of the times it's either Skype or Zoom or maybe Google Meet. Whichever way, it's always a video camera ready type of interview. And your body language, yeah, right? Like the language and the energy that you give off always speaks to just how comfortable you feel in your answers and in your story, your professional examples that you're making. So try to be as authentic and confident as possible. I know sometimes it's just really nerve-wracking to be on camera and also in front of the recruiter, right? And then interviewing also for a job that you really want, and that you really want to succeed. So I know sometimes it can be a little scary, and I just want to empower you and to let you know that as a recruiter and someone who actually does interviews and conducts interviews for Remote Rockstars, I can tell you that I'm genuinely interested actually to know more about the candidates, right? And again, as a recruiter, I can tell you that genuinely I'm very interested and curious to learn a little bit more about their professional expertise, maybe to hear some of the examples, like really good examples and some client stories. So if you can come up with some kind of like case studies, and this is going to be one of our next points here in the discussion too, something that really shows off the way how you handled some of the challenging situations, it's pure gold. That's what I can tell you. And this is where my point number 3 kicks in. As far as giving sometimes vague and watered down replies to some of the questions, I can tell you that I love some real-time, like real client stories and examples, because usually you use that formula, right, that we talked about before, where it's the challenge, action, and the result, and that's the CAR formula. Or you can think about it a different way, like your skills, your action, and the success. So instead of CAR, it's SAS or SAS. So whichever way you decide, whichever formula you decide to use, just really think of some of the real life experiences, right? And maybe sometimes it's a different team member that helped you and kicked in here. Maybe it's the client who gave you the prompt to work on something else, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you put your effort in, you were committed, and you were dedicated to finding a solution, to coming up on top, right? And achieving that success in that challenging situation. And honestly, I just kind of want to hear you talk about this, because usually that's when the passion comes through. That's when the dedication to your work comes through, right? And it just really shows off how interested, how curious you are, how passionate you are about what you're doing. And again, that's just another good way to show off your skills, your expertise, and maybe your resourcefulness too, especially when it comes to an example about researching a topic, right? Sometimes I feel like really good examples come from any time you have a chance to participate in a launch, like an online or a coaching program launch, because there's so many glitches that actually happen down the road when something's not working, like the backlinks are not connecting, something is wrong with the checkout page, right? Or something didn't quite save in the sales page. And so when the launch rolls around, there are some of the little things that need to be fixed here and there on some of the feedback from customers. And customer service stories could be really powerful too. The way maybe how you handled a customer question or an issue and you helped resolve the issue and then you made someone happy in the process. That's absolutely amazing. So the thing is that I also wanted to mention, and that's kind of like a belief that, and one of the mistakes that goes with the interview process is that the recruiters are there to get you and they're there to trick you. I assure you that we are actually not. And also coming from the side of Remote Rockstars looking for our amazing team members, I can tell you that it is my valuable time that I am spending and learning more about the candidates that want to be part of our team. So it's certainly not in my interest and not kind of just like as part of my universe to really trick you or ask you any of the trick questions, some curveballs. Yes, there are sometimes some challenging questions, I would say, and we already talked about that, I feel like a couple of Wednesdays ago when we discussed some of the curveballs that go into the interview process, but it's more about really finding out kind of like the core of your skills and your expertise, and just to really make sure that professionally speaking, based on your experience, you are a good match with the position. That's all to it. And again, if you approach your story when you talk about your professional experience from the point of view of using those case studies and those challenge action result type of stories, actually no one is going to be able to trick you because you are showing off your expertise right then, and there are no curveballs that can be thrown at you because you are straightforward, you're authentic, you're genuine, and you just laid out right in front of the recruiter, here's what's going on with my professional experience. This is what I've dealt with already. These are some of the challenging situations that I helped resolve, be it on the customer service side, on the launch side, administrative. Maybe there was like calendar nightmare that you actually helped a business owner with. So throw that in and it's going to be a done deal. It will be easy. Another thing that I wanted to mention here is take some time before you actually accept the job, and not maybe right there on the interview, but give yourself a chance to write a follow-up email, right? And genuinely, I can tell you that it happens rarely that a business owner would extend their offer right away at the interview, that they would be just so amazingly in love with you that just like right there, let's sign that contract. They do usually take their time too, and they do usually have other candidates that they're interviewing at the same time, right? So it doesn't happen often. And at the same time, I would always encourage you to take a breather. Just remember that it's always a two-way street, and you always should take the time to maybe negotiate. Maybe it's an hourly rate, maybe it's a paid time off if you're talking about a full-time position as an employee. Maybe it's something about your availability that doesn't quite fit your desired schedule. So give yourself a chance to negotiate, remembering that it's a two-way street and that they need you and your professionalism just as much as you need them. So it should be that win-win situation where you guys find a very nice match, compromise, just kind of like a match made in heaven, right? So that's what I'm talking about as far as taking a breather, following up to the interview, maybe adding some extra touch to that follow-up as far as some of the things that came up in the interview. You can mention them and follow up on them, or maybe offer a deeper perspective, only because sometimes we're not able to discuss everything on the interview. Like usually those interviews are what, 20, 30 minutes? And depending on the number of questions that they give you, it's not really possible to do a deep dive in any of the case studies or situations. Throw something else powerful at them in follow-up email, and then see what happens, right? So maybe in a day or two, I am sure if they really want you, they will be extending their offer very shortly, unless there is some bureaucratic process that is part of their company that prevents them from doing that. But typically business owners, when they see that you showed yourself off so nicely in the interview, when maybe some of the assessments or test tasks that they might have assigned to you, you just passed with flying colors, they really want you on their team like yesterday. So there will be no time in them contacting you and extending the offer. And again, when you show your confidence and your genuine interest and passion about their position, then, again, it's going to be a win-win. My last thing that I wanted to mention here is, please share with us any of the success tips that help you stand out, be it in the application process, the way how maybe you handle your portfolios or you put together these, and maybe during the interview process. Do you have certain stories that always work and win your business, right? Is there a specific question that maybe you ask a business owner, something that maybe we are not aware of, not thinking, or what should we be asking a business owner, right? Is there a questionnaire on your side that you also have when you arrive at the interview? Because like I said, it is a two-way street. So you're very much so interviewing them as they're interviewing you. And because you're a virtual professional, you do actually have quite a bit of choice and flexibility in the type of clients that you want to support and work with. Unless you're absolutely desperate to just sign a client, no matter the red flags and no matter if they're a good match, because of, there are different financial situations that we're all in, right? And we just want to start building up the portfolio with any type of work that comes our way. That's also a valid reason, go for it. And at the same time, if you feel like you have quite a bit of a demand with your clients and you can select and be a little bit picky, then let us know what actually helps you make that choice, right? So what are some of the things that you usually look out for or maybe look for in your future client that you want to support? Anything and everything that comes to mind when it comes to the interview process, please let us know. And we're always here collaborating with you. We're learning as much from you as you're probably from us. And we are always open to sharing as much as you share with us. And so let's just make it a collaborative environment where we learn from each other and we're all cheering each other for success. So that's our ultimate goal here. And I'm cheering you on, rock stars. Go about your day. Enjoy every day that you are here supporting your clients. And I hope that you're loving the client work that you're doing, because our work takes most of our life. Like in a day, of course, depending on how many days and hours you actually devote to work. But for most people, they spend quite a bit of time working. So I hope that it brings you joy. And I hope that you are content and happy with the clients that you support because of the time investment and because of the effort and our passion that we give it. So I'm cheering you on. Good luck.